For a portable saw, that's pretty bloody heavy. And that one's even heavier. But wait until you hear how much they cost. You'll be very surprised. Table saws, cabinet saws, contractor saws, call them what you like. This Wadkin AGS-10 and Bosch GTS-10 have more in common than you think. Which one would you rather have? What comes next I found really interesting. I often hear in Facebook groups or forums people saying I don't have the space for a cabinet saw. I can't afford a cabinet saw. So I'm going to buy a site saw and, probably build that into a bench, make it bigger so I can run sheet goods through it safer and all that sort of stuff. The one main difference between the saws is the Wadkin saw is probably going to come three-phase. The Bosch is single-phase. I have converted mine to single-phase, but it needs a 16-amp fuse. I ran all the wires myself and did all the plugs and sockets and stuff for that. And a friend of mine who's an electrician wired in the hot end. It really isn't that difficult to do. The only thing I don't like about the Wadkin table saw, I'm happy it's got a tilting arbor at least, but it tilts the blade towards that fence, which to me is probably more dangerous than putting a piece of wood between a router bit and the fence. How I kind of got around it was by moving those bars at the fence right along, so I could put the fence right over to the left, giving me reasonable sized mitre cut there. Like I said, I solved it my way by setting the saw up my way with moving those bars. That's how it should have been set up. Doing so, of course, gave me a smaller width of cut, but nothing too small.
James has a small dick.
Oh, well, it's not the end of the world.
It's really small.
How small?
Too small.
Well, size isn't everything.
3 inches.
Well,
Hard.
is he a good kisser?
Oh, who the fuck cares? His dick is like a gherkin. It's so terrible. Listen to me. I'm a bad person. Why? Why does he have to have a small dick?
This blew my wormhole right open. Of course, I didn't take into account the fence handle. Every table saw needs an outfeed table, so I did include that. This sliding table feature is an absolute joke. You're probably wondering, well, with those bars, how can it possibly be similar sizes to the Bosch? Well, this saw comes in 2 different setups. You get 2 different lengths of bars. I've gone for the biggest my shop can accommodate, applicable for my shop, including that problem with the blade itself, well, the direction it tilts. And that's how it will be if you set it up properly. And you'll be able to run an 8x4 sheet of sheet goods through that. But that really eats into the space of my workshop. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's humanly possible one person to shove a whole 8x4 sheet of ply through a table saw and get a nice parallel cut. And there's the saw dressed like James. Same maximum cut as the Bosch. And here's the bars in front of the Bosch saw. To put it into perspective for you, pretty much the same size, but do remember on the table, the cast iron top of the cabinet saw sticks out a little bit more. It's not even a foot more. I know. It's not set up exactly the same, is it? Well, I can tell you for a fact, I did use exactly the same blade in both saws. So the age of the blade is the same, which does make a difference to how loud a saw is. So I dug out the cross-cut blade, which hardly ever gets used, so it's pretty much as good as new, and you can see the difference. Again, I use the same blade in both saws.
Smells like victory.
But before we use any power tools, let's talk about shop safety.
I can chase quick.
If you're like me and you've got a lot of blades, it's a bit of a worry if you're going to move up to a new saw, because you're probably going to have to replace all those blades. Fortunately not. Buy these spacers from Axminster or the likes. I don't know if this is applicable to all site saws. Well, certainly the dual equivalent to this, which is, I think, roughly the same size. It does lock down really nice and tough, but I find it splays out just a hair. Well, 1 mil or half a mil, which is too much for me in my books. I can hear someone saying already, well, it's a site saw, what do you expect? Yeah, you know, you can't compare it really to a cabinet saw. Especially one you've really dialed in. And I'm not faking that. That'll do. I can't remember if I had this in my table saw restoration video, but that's the fine adjuster knob. And I kid you, the only problem with these old tools is the parts cost a bloody fortune. That adjuster knob cost £105. Well, I didn't purchase it for quite a while, and I really hated that whole awful plastic knob. I wanted it to match the rest of the saw, so I did manage to get that off and swap them around without breaking it. I also added a spring in there to push the knob back out, disengage that knob, otherwise that's how it gets smashed with the teeth underneath the fence rail. The difference in volume is so noticeable. One sounds like a nagging wife, the other sounds like a fart you gambled on one. The difference in cut quality as well. I mean, on the left is the cabinet saw, on the right is the Bosch saw, rough as a bear's backside, using the same blade, of course. I'd like to say a big thank you to all my super fans: Joe, Dickie Morris, Justin Walsh, Mark Dana, Kevin O'Connor, Derek Hanson, Jimmy Frick, Jonathan AI, Jorvik Workshop, Peter Davidoff, Scott Broomfield, Paul Hodgson, Paul McGuinness, Andrew Gibbons and Nathan Adams.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. She's had to roast a turkey.
All of these extra costings, obviously, you don't have to do. You can do them over a period of time. You don't have to do them at all. You can get that saw, maybe fix some wiring or something, and just get on using it. Leave it as it is, no paint, nothing. Now for the best bit. I think the question really is, which one would you prefer to have? I know which one's going to last a lifetime, that's for sure, and probably more so. So if you like the cut of my jib, please like and subscribe. Share if you're really feeling kinky. And we'll see each other again. Be lucky.